Catherine Erdahl wrote and illustrated her first book at the age of 8. Since then, she's worked in corporate communications, and lately she has written 2 children's books. The latest is called Polkadot Fixes Kindergarten. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you.
So what does Polkadot fix?
Well, Polkadot in this book heads off to her first day of kindergarten with a fix-it kit just like her grandpa's. So she thinks she's ready for anything. But then she has a number of kindergarten catastrophes, including struggles with a girl named Liz who's quite mean to her. And it seems like the kit just isn't doing her one bit of good. But then ultimately she does use it to give her the courage to stand up to Liz. And then she uses one of the items in the kit, my personal favorite, which is a roll of duct tape, to fix Liz's dress. And then the 2 girls do become friends and they resolve their differences. So it ends up fixing a bad day, basically. So a bad first day of kindergarten ends up becoming a good first day.
Yeah. So and in this book, it talks a little bit about maybe a girl who's not quite so nice as well. And did you write this book from personal experience, or where did you get the idea of this?
I did to some extent. When I was growing up, I was really shy and timid. And there was a girl in my neighborhood who was quite mean to me. She kind of took advantage of that. Certainly, I'm not bitter about that at this point in my life. But,
beyond it.
Yes, as an author, you do look back to your own personal experiences, especially growing up, because they are written for children, so you have to get back into the point of view of a child. And I do remember what that was like, and I was too scared to stand up and say anything, so I never did. So the satisfying thing is that in writing this book, I could create a character who's a bit more spunky than I was as a kid, and she does stand up. And when she stands up, it begins that turning around of the mean behavior and the start of the friendship. So there is resolution in their relationship. And so that's really been satisfying.
So, and you raise an interesting point, is you really do have to get to a different point of view when you're writing it. You can't write it as an adult. And I think that's fascinating. So you really have to go back to your roots as being a kid. Yes. And so how did you choose to pick the kindergarten age instead of a different age?
You know, it's kind of funny. In a way, I feel like, and I know this sounds strange, but I feel like the stories find me, and that just is what comes naturally to me most of the time. My first book is from the point of view of a 5-year-old, so kindergartner as well. And it's an age that I tend to gravitate toward. I really remember being that age, and I think, again, part of it might be because at that point in my life I was shy and I was scared of so many things, and when you feel emotion really strongly, I think that helps that particular thing to stay in your memory. So my memories of that age are pretty vivid. You know, plus I spent a lot of time hiding in the corner of the library daydreaming. So I think, you know, I remember these things now, and I think that's...
Yeah, isn't that interesting that it still shapes on who you are today, too?
It does, and it's fun to be able to write about those things, and so to try to get back into the point of view of a child that age. Because I think for a story to appeal to kids, it has to be something where they can identify with the characters, so that I feel like if a story is written from the point of view of a mom talking, I don't want to say talking down, but a little bit to the kids, it's less appealing to kids. They want to see themselves in the story.
Right. Just like when we were reading books for us, too, we want to see ourselves in the story as well.
Right.
So, exactly. And where can you buy Polkadot Fixes Kindergarten?
You can buy it in your local bookstore or Barnes & Noble, any of those bookstores. Hopefully they'll have it in the store. If they don't have it in the store, they can certainly order it. It's also available on Amazon and any of those online retailers too.
Okay, and do you have any more books in the works?
I am working on a number of things, including a series of chapter books about 2 friends who are actually pigs, but they're best friends, and then a number of other picture books. And then my first book was called Emma's Question. That came out in 2009, so I continue to read that to kids and do activities with that as well.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Catherine,
for
being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'd love everybody to meet Heather King. Heather King is a blogger on her blog site called The Extraordinary Ordinary, where she writes of her stories of being a mom to her 3 kids. And she writes beautifully and right from the heart, and they're very inspiring pieces of art. And she recently, in the last 2 years, she's talked about her alcoholism and how it's affected her family. And through that, she's also been able to help many other moms throughout the whole country on their journey to sobriety as well. So thanks so much, Heather, for being here.
Thank you.
And so why did you decide to come out to the whole world to see about your alcoholism?
Well, it really wasn't even something that I grappled with a lot. It was something I knew I had to do. I had been writing openly and transparently before I decided to quit drinking. And so it was actually the day that I decided to quit drinking that I did the first post and kind of just poured my heart out about what I'd been struggling with. I just kind of knew that I couldn't not say it. I didn't feel like it would be authentic to what was going on with my life. And I hadn't been allowing myself to really face it. So I didn't write about it before then, because obviously I would have to quit and I didn't want to. And I think admitting that you have a drinking problem very publicly is definitely one way to stay sober.
Because you have a lot of people to keep you accountable now.
Right, yeah. I knew that if I said it there, I couldn't take it back. That's really what it came down to.
Right. And so has this helped other women become sober as well? And have you been able to help a lot of people on their trip to sobriety as well?
I look at it kind of like I am a stepping stone. I think people, when they get sober, it's all them. It's all their strength and decision. And I think the beautiful thing about online sharing is that people can come across it randomly in their own lives, and so many times that happens at the perfect time. When a woman is ready, when she's thinking about quitting and she feels very alone in that, if she reads one of my posts where I talk about the struggle or what it was like before, and she can see herself in that, it helps her to say, okay, if she can do it, maybe I can do it too. But I definitely don't take credit for it. I just see it as perfect timing for a lot of people, and that happens a lot, and I'm really grateful for that.
So great. So, and it's not all your blog is all about your journey from to being sober. So what else do you write about on your blog?
I've always written about motherhood, my feelings about motherhood. I definitely have a feelings blog. And I write about the struggle that is motherhood and the beauty of it. My blog is called The Extraordinary Ordinary because I wanted to focus on how extraordinary motherhood really is, even in the mundane little details that we live out every day. I wanted to be able to focus on the beauty of that. And so that's what it's about most of the time. It's just any story. I like to just write out kind of from, I call it my a heart gut kind of place, even just something that happened between one of my kids and I. And it seems like a theme will kind of present itself, or some kind of lesson, or some kind of lesson for me, more than anybody else. And it helps just keep me focused on these days that are so super fleeting with small kids.
Yeah, it goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Well, I just absolutely love your writing. It's very beautiful. So what other opportunities have come out from being able to blog? Have you been able to meet really amazing people through it?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it. Some of my best friends are people I've met because of blogging. And when I initially started, I didn't understand how that could be possible. There's all these strangers meeting this way. But I think that there's just a really powerful connection in people, in storytelling. And if you connect with someone and their words resonate with you, a lot of times there's just ways of getting to know each other now through social media, Facebook.
Yeah, because you don't even have to be near them. I mean, you could be across the country and you still would feel like you're a part of your life.
Right. I mean, one of my dearest friends is someone who was writing about her sobriety journey while I was still drinking. I was reading her blog and never commenting or anything, just, seeing myself in her story. And when I originally posted what I did, she commented on my blog. She just came across a link to the post on Twitter and she commented on my blog. We started emailing, then we started talking on the phone. And we just have this kindred spirit connection. And I think blogging is one of the ways that can happen, and you meet people you would have never known any other way.
Yeah, it makes the whole world a lot smaller, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, thanks so much, Heather, for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and good luck with your blog.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much.
There must be many parents out there whose children have pleaded with them to have an animal. Even if you've got one already, they want another one. They don't want any Christmas presents, birthday presents, and they'll do anything for you they could possibly do. Well, we all know that's not true, because we've been there and done that, but we do have animals, and I think children are better for it, having animals. It makes them kinder, more respectful, and just nicer people altogether. But I do have one little story to tell you. We decided one weekend we would go on a camping trip, and this was just something out of the blue. We hadn't intended to do this, and we thought it'd be fun for the children. We had a big dog at the time, like a 100-pound dog, and a cat, and we couldn't find someone to look after them. So we thought we'd take them with us, which, you know, why couldn't we do this? It should be fun. Everything went according to plan. We got there, got the tent up, took a lovely walk with Rebel and left the cat in the tent to guard the tent. Came home, had a lovely meal, and all went to bed exhausted. But one little thing I'd forgotten was that cats tend to sleep during the day and come alive at night. And so we'd been asleep for about an hour, and all of a sudden we heard this squeaky noise, and it was one of the cat toys. And then we heard slurping of water, and that was the dog drinking his water. And then they had a free-for-all. They started chasing round the tent and woke up the children. Consequently, we didn't get much sleep that night. Got up the next morning, and we were exhausted and irritable, and the children were miserable. So we had breakfast, packed the car, went home, and the animals and the children slept all the while, which of course they would do. If you're going on a camping trip, I certainly wouldn't take a cat with you, because they don't sleep at night, for one thing, and the dog is usually, one animal on its own is fine, but not a cat and a dog. It's just too much work, and they just don't sleep. They want to play the whole time.